What's up, MFers? You can see back behind me, we got palm trees, we got humidity, we got lizards everywhere. We are in Florida, and that means stop number 3 of the Elite Series season. Started off with a bang. The first 2 went extremely well, top 10s in both, and now we are down in a place that the Elite Series has not gone at this time of year, maybe ever. I don't know if, I'm just gonna say ever, because the Elite Series has been around since what, 2005, 2006? Never have we come here in the post-spawn April time. Usually it's been January, February, pre-spawn, spawn typed tournaments. This one's gonna be totally different, and I cannot wait to get started, especially because not only do we have a bunch of stuff rigged up, ready to go, we got a whole package of new stuff that you've probably never seen before from 6th Sense, prototype stuff even, that I just got the okay-ish from Father Zach to show you guys. But some stuff that's absolutely gonna play down here in Florida. I'm gonna get rigged up, get ready to go, and tell you guys what I'm gonna be looking for and throwing at the Harris chain in this tournament. All right, we got the man with the crazy hair and the plan, Osborne, here. We're gonna show you some, Ozzy, look at this. Look at this box of baits we got from 6th Sense. Stuff that's maybe just been released by the time the video gets out, and some stuff I know that has not been released by the time the video gets out. And we're gonna just talk about what's gonna happen in this tournament, or at least what my mindset is going into the Harris chain. So if you guys remember, we were just here. This was the last open at the Harris chain in October. And that event, tough fishery, fall fishing, caught almost all my fish out of one little area, a brush pile, and then a little clean water area. I don't know if any of that's gonna play at all, but I'm thinking post-spawn fish, maybe some spawn fish. I'm gonna be looking for bed fish a little bit in this event, but most likely it's gonna be how I love to fish. Everybody saw me do the live scope, you know, looking at them, you know, finding staging, suspended fish the first 2 tournaments, and I think people assume that that's the only way I know how to fish and the only way I like to fish. Couldn't be further from the truth. My favorite way to fish is the post-spawn, summer, and I mean, you can really do it in the winter too in Texas and offshore fishing, and that is fishing hard bottom areas, grass edges, offshore ledges, points, current stuff, which I don't think we're gonna have a whole lot of current in this event. That's how I wanna catch them, man. Hair jig, Carolina rig, dragging a jig, throwing a flutter spoon, cranking, deep cranking, grinding stuff into the bottom, and throwing a big swim bait. Hopefully we can make any of those things happen. But if you remember from last time we were here, Cole, how many lakes is this? Like, you get
7 or 8?
Yeah, you got 7 or 8, but you got little tiny ones kind of connected too. But the main players are where we launch. That's Harris, Little Harris, which is connected. From there, you go through about a 10-minute idle, you get to Lake Eustis, and then from Eustis, you can either go over to Griffin, you have to go through a lock, or you can go to the right, which takes you to Dora, another 10 to 15-minute idle between those two. From Dora, you can go over to Beauclair. From Beauclair, you can either go south to a small lake called Carlton, or once again, you can take a canal and a lock, a sketchy lock. They're both kind of sketchy, both really sketchy actually, and go down to the largest lake of the chain, Apopka. Now, that seems like a lot of idling and a lot of running, because it is, and locking can take a long time, because as you remember, 3 boats at a time through the Apopka lock, I think 5 boats through the Griffin lock, both of which we've been told have been not working very well. So it's a risk, a huge risk, going to either of those lakes, but at the same time, it's pretty much known that Griffin is the most consistent lake on this chain right now the last couple years, and Apopka has the largest ceiling, the highest ceiling, the chance of that 20-plus pound bag, which you have everywhere, but really there, most of the tournaments launch at a Harris, and therefore it's a long trek to get down there, and I think there's just, it's bigger, it's more vast, and there's the chance for bigger fish down there. But some of these baits that came in this package are exciting because they're baits we're gonna use in practice, right? And in the tournament. Ozzy, don't act like you're scared. Look at this, Oz. We got this guy right here. I've been actually had a big part in designing this right here, the Flock hair jig. And even though it's not a jig head minnow, some have been known to use this bait very effectively using live scope. One of my favorite baits to use for offshore summer, post-spawn all the way through the fall bass fishing. And obviously hair has always been really good in the winter too, in cold water months, but this thing's freaking perfect. There's so many hair jigs on the market. It's really an old school bait, the old school preacher style bait. that's kind of come back around, but it's important to have bucktail in it. It's important to have some of those hackle feathers, because those little hackle feathers go a little bit further back and they do a little swimming motion when you crank that thing really quick. And it's important to not have too heavy of a hook, because this is the most effective bait using lighter line, 10, 12, 14 pound test at the very most, and you don't want a big bulky hook. You want as much flow and as much swim out of this hair as possible, and to add a little bit of extra to flair to this guy, of course 6th Sense has a very detailed heads, and we threw some little bit of skirt material in there too. That's a Morning Dawn color right there. And some of these colors are absolutely incredible. Look at this one. It's got a little bit of gray fur in there. It's called Pro Blue. Got some blue on the top, some shimmery blue. This is probably my favorite color in the whole thing, a gray shad color. So many of these old school hair jigs that work so good are just like a straight white color. This is the first time we've had a natural color swim jig or hair jig to go along with that. Let's talk about swim jigs, right, Oz? We got a whole bunch of swim jigs too. These guys right here, the Conda swim jig. So 6th Sense has already got, wow, that's a couple things I'm probably not even supposed to show. 6th Sense has already got a couple different types of swim jigs. We have the regular swim jig, the Divine, and the braided swim jig version with a little bit heavier hook. This one is smaller. It has, if you look at it up close, we had one rigged up here, Oz. It doesn't have the skirt tab on the bottom layer like your traditional skirts have. They've all been trimmed out, so it's gonna give it the nice, finessey, sparse jig skirt, like if you guys, you know, do a little bit of searching through my videos. I do with about every jig skirt. I don't like a big bulky skirt on anything, especially a swimming bait like a swim jig, and it has a little bit lighter wire hook. So the whole thing is gonna have a more finesse presentation, finesse approach. Actually, the way that the angle of the hook eye is and where the weight is on the head of this jig is gonna cause this bait to run super level through the water column. It's still flat enough on the bottom that it's gonna skip. It's gonna come to a point a little bit there, so it's gonna get through a lot of that grass like we're gonna love here at the Harris chain. Dude, we're gonna show that next. What's it called?
A frog.
A frog. But yeah, the Conda swim jig, it's up there on the site now. Awesome colors with all our swim jigs. That's a bluegill color. I'm gonna tie this guy on, get him thrown around in practice. Let's show him that, Ozzy. I think we're supposed to, I think it's okay if we show this, but we've had the Vega frog for a while, and now we're coming out with a regular pointed nose style version of a frog. This has actually been one in the works for a long time. Still has that nice, perfectly shaped weight that fits through the bottom of the hook gap when it collapses, so it does not have any issues collapsing these big hooks. The body you want it? Body was made around that hook for better hookup ratio. And when we were designing a frog, we didn't just want, you're good? Sorry, I didn't mean to knock you over. We didn't just want another frog because everyone's got frogs in the market. So pretty much everyone in tournament fishing that knows the deal with frogs has gravitated, I'm trying to find some more frogs. I think we got, there's another one right there. Has gravitated towards.
Hey, I got one, a frog.
Heck yeah you do, bruh. They've gravitated towards this a more finesse style frog because of all the pressure on our lakes right now. And so when we designed this, we wanted a frog that could walk, could chug, could skip, but was in a smaller package. And so one thing that could be going on right now at the Harris chain is a shad spawn. What a great shad color that is. Some frogs come with like crazy stupid color legs. You got bright yellow and brown and stuff legs. Like, I don't know why they do that. I'm always switching legs out. These come with, you know, clear, nice, natural legs. This one has a really subtle, subdued. Baby bluegill is the name of this one. You know, bluegill have that nice little brighter tips to them. You can trim some of those out if you want to. Leave them full. But yeah, same awesome colors as the Vega frog, but in a nice finesse pointed nose package. I cannot wait to get that tied up and sling it around some of these big old Florida strains. You want to feel it? Check it out, bro. Dude, you got every single bait out in the entire thing. You're getting after it.
This has got orange and green.
Yeah, it's got orange on its chin. Bluegill have that, right?
Yeah, green.
Some people actually add orange to their chin of their frog.
Yeah, green.
One of my good friends, Rick Riley, who actually lives down here in Florida now, but he taught me a ton fishing frogs growing up. He always would put orange on his throat of his frog like that. and he
Look.
swore it made him get more
Lean
bites.
on his back. Wait.
Yeah, it's a cool bluegill color, isn't it? I love that. All right, what else do we got? You got a couple things out. That's a hair jig. We already looked at those. Look at these guys. Underspin treble head. So you could add an underspin to swim bait, to whatever you want to. And I was just telling Cole, I don't know if this is going to play a lot here, but we're about to go to St. John's River. That might be a lot more of a ledge, offshore, fish on a little bait style bite. Dragging one of these guys around could be absolutely key. So that's awesome. They sent me these. I didn't even know these were coming out, but since we're coming out with like 56, 60 new products in 2024, there's going to be some stuff that I don't even know about that's coming out. Bigger size the party minnow. So those guys that love the party minnow, a lot of people were wanting a realistic swim bait with eyes that had a really nice, subtle, natural tail kick. This one's going to be the absolute deal. What are you doing there? Trying to dig a guy out?
Yeah.
Look at that hair jig killer. Gold in there, silver on the top. Man, that's cool. And they come in a lot of sizes too. This is a bigger one. 3/4 ounce, I think, is the biggest size. Then all the way down to, I think, 1/4 ounce is the smallest size. You got hooks on it?
Yeah.
Are you done with it?
No.
You want to look at it?
Yeah, look at it.
Think a bass would eat that?
Yeah.
I do too.
6.
What else we got in here? What other things are we supposed to not show? Look at this guy. Wow, that guy looks like he could move some water with his big old tail. It's like blump, 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 blump. Think one would eat that? Wow, what a good design too. You can put the harness on the top or on the bottom. That's pretty cool. I'm putting these in the boat. I'm freaking tying these tomorrow. I bet something would dong that, don't you think?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right. Never mind, I'm not gonna tie it on. Anyways, that stuff's all awesome. This is another bait that I'll absolutely be throwing. This new bait from 6 Cents called the Judge. If you're familiar with swimming worms in Florida, that's what this guy is. Except it's not something that I got on last year at this Harris Chain Open, but my buddy Jack York actually. He went out, he had 1 pack of these. He went to Griffin, I think, and crushed him on it. He was in the top 10. And he's like, dude, you got any more of those? And I was like, yeah, sure, here's a couple packs. I'm not using them. I'm fishing brush piles and doing other stuff. But he crushed them on this. He swears by it. He said it works way better than all the other, the swim worms that the guys use around here. And you can see it's a different profile. It's more of like a swim bait style profile. It's like a cross kind of between like the very traditional Big Easy style swim bait mixed with a swimming worm. So it's kind of got the best of both worlds. That will absolutely be getting tied on for practice. Obviously, not going to go anywhere without these 2 baits. We just talked about post-spawn fishing. I just hooked myself, C10, freaking line through. I'm not going to go out and fish post-spawn without these baits tied up. So they will be on the deck to start practice tomorrow. I think I'm gonna just kind of get a feel for everything to start tomorrow morning, get an idea of how the lakes are fishing, how they're setting up, because I got some, some sweet spots. This is one of the few places on the schedule I've been and spent a lot of time scanning around. So I got some areas where I know it goes down. Florida fishing is kind of obvious, which is why people end up fishing on top of each other a lot of times in Florida. So I'm gonna hit the spots where I know that they should be and I know that they get, and see how those look and kind of go from there. I don't expect this to be a super easy tournament. Some of the weights have been really low. Toyota Series tournament took 13 pounds a day, I think, to get a top 10. What, Ozzy? Ooh, you about hooked yourself. What do you think it's going to take? How many pounds do you think I need to catch to get a top 10?
12 pounds something.
12 a day? I'm good with that. How about I try to catch a 12-pounder?
No, 8.
An 8-pounder. I'm going to catch an 8-pounder each day, Ozzy says. But, yeah, I'll catch you guys first thing in the morning, bright and early, and we're going to get this Harris chain broken down. I can't wait. Try not to have too many of these in the process. Good morning, MFers. Welcome out. Day number 1, practice day number 1, that is, out at Old Harold's Chain here in Florida. Just solo for practice. Coleslaw stayed home to get some editing done. and get caught up on some of our tournament videos, because it's been like one after another. He's been killing the edits, as you guys have seen. Thank you for all the compliments. He isn't able to tell you that because he's behind the screen, behind the camera, but just got down here to Florida. Beautiful weather out here this morning. And last time we were here, it was a very special time because that's when we qualified for the Elite Series and that Open last October. Seems like we were just here. Seems like it was 10 years ago at the same time. But a lot different this time. We're here in April, that was October, and it sounds like it's still fishing really tough. Launched at Dora this morning, and I wanted to fish a popka the whole day today, but I want to see if there's a shad spawn, so we're gonna have some early mornings, getting on the water as early as possible this entire week. And I was thinking about it, I was like, it takes like 2 hours to get to a popka at least with a lock and everything. And so I'm gonna be, you know, past the shad spawn at that point. Anyway, look at this, there's a lot of activity on the water back behind me. Maybe you can't see that. I'm a nerd. But anyways, shad spawn usually happens first thing in the morning. So I was like, why am I trying to get that going in a popka when I'm not gonna get down there till 9:30, 10 o'clock anyways. And I like these lakes and want to check them out regardless. So we are going to do that. Get the life jacket thrown on and get on out here, see what we can find today. But yeah, I'm gonna start with a buzzbait, chatterbait, swim jig, stuff like that, up shallow, see if we can get things going in Dora and Beauclair. And then we're gonna trailer over to a popka instead of taking the time to go through the lock and stuff, practice obviously. Gonna be a fun practice time, and I'm looking forward to it. Just tough to catch fish out here these days anyways, so let's get it. That's why you come to Florida, right there. The pigs! Oh God, look what he just blew out. They just came up schooling a second ago. There's a whole bunch of them. Unfortunately, they were all that size. Not this size, this is a shad, but they're the size of that guy. Small. Well, I'm doing a lot of scanning, and I wasn't really expecting to do this, but it just kind of feels right, and that's kind of just how I like to do practice. Whatever feels right, whatever looks right. And I'm starting to just think that there could be a lot of big post spawners somewhere here in Beauclair. So I just wanted to show you guys a little bit what I'm looking at on side imaging here and what I'm scanning, so it makes some sense besides just like me catching random 12 inchers and sporadically hopefully catching some big ones. But I was scanning this grass line. You can kind of see some sporadic grass over here, and this is most likely hydrilla and eelgrass. And you can see this edge here. That right there kind of looks like a little brush pile, so I'm definitely going to mark that. Just something that we can, you know, throw at when we come back. But I marked this whole grass edge going up here, and I found some things that are really interesting right here. So first off, look at these shadows up here. So those are definitely bigger fish, more spread out. These right here definitely look like gar. Look at that return. They look really long. There's kind of two out there in the open, middle of nowhere. Very likely to be gar or, you know, something that's not a bass. But these here look like a good group of really big bass. See those good shadows right there on that grass line, especially because it kind of curves in. That's the spot where bass get set up. And then you kind of come up here and you start to see, you see some little dots up there. That could be, you know, bluegill, that could be shad. A lot of those little dots mixed in here that don't just look like the tops of the grass in these areas. So I marked, if I tap on that, you can see I marked the grass line there, I marked the grass line there. And then if you come over here, this right here is either bluegill beds or it's a shell bed. A lot of times they look, they give that dimpled look like that. So they're hard to kind of differentiate a lot of times, but regardless, it's a hard bottom area right there off a grass line. You got big bass next to it. We're gonna stop and see what it looks like. That's gotta be a first. Crappie on a chatterbait. Wow. The old brush pot, I still got them. Spot right here where I did well in the open. Caught most of my fish actually. And they're still eating the old blood apple. 7-inch divine guy. Fortunately, the other 2 spots that I like down here had nothing on them, so we need to find more if we're going to take the time to lock through and everything. Oh, we're in a popka now, by the way. You got water spots on you. Popka, water spots, blood apple. Check. Gator, everywhere you go. Good morning, MFers. Second day of practice here on the Harris chain. Yesterday sucked. Wasn't happy with what I saw. Ended up probably driving around and changing lakes more than I should have, instead of just, sitting there dialing in a bite somewhere. But that's kind of what I like to do the first day of practice, just get a feel for everything. And when you're on a chain of lakes that I think there's 7 or 8 or 9 lakes, and they all fish a little bit different. They have different nuances. When I was here in October, I caught fish in all of them in practice. I figured them all, broke it down, some of the best areas of them in practice. I just wanted to go out and see if the fish were on the same stuff, how they were relating to some of the stuff. And it turned out it sucked everywhere. The only thing we really had going was the very first spot in the morning. There was a bunch of fish on bait, in a little canal, a little cut through, I guess. It wasn't even a canal. So that's what we got so far. We totally switched plans today. We are in Griffin today, and we're gonna be fishing some offshore grass, and then we're gonna be fishing some canals, some rivers, just to see what the hell we can find. And water's 71 up here in the river, so it's not like it's a whole lot different water temperature wise. I talked to some other dudes that struggled their ass off yesterday too, so a lot of these guys in this tournament are gonna have a hard time too, and we just got to figure out a way to get some decent 2 to 3 pound bites in the boat, because it's Florida and you can stumble upon a freaking giant one to go along with them, and then you're really cooking. I think JT told me the winning weight last week in a pretty good sized local tournament was like 17 pounds, and that's what it's been taking. So it ain't easy out here. Yesterday had an east wind, post frontal. Today's kind of similar, but at least it's the second day in the process of the weather pattern. So hopefully they bite a little bit better. Fuck, I hope so. All right, let's see what we can find. Oh, I got one on. What do you know about that, Trey McKinney? Whoa. Dude, that's a giant 3-pounder. Sorry, I dropped my phone. I just broke my PB. I had to drop the phone there. That was exciting. All right, I'm spending the next I'm not going to say 3 days or 4 days of the tournament. I'm going to spend the 2 days of the tournament in here, this spot right here. It's looking like a 2-dayer. There you go. Do it to it, buddy. Okay, that sounds good. Oh, dude, I just got another one. It's a pickerel! I got a pickerel! You caught any of these things? Pickerel and a swim jig. God, dude, I'm on fire. That's just like barely even a fucking bass. God dang, man. Freaking scan all this badass isolated freaking grass and shell beds and freaking grass edges. Bluegill beds, and that's what you get. We're on freaking Eustis now. The river sucked balls. Well, some of it did. Some of it was okay, but couldn't freaking put it together. So about 2:30, I pulled the dang plug and got out of there. And now we're just trying to make something happen. I don't know. Just trying not to get discouraged because I know it's tough for everyone. So we just got to keep our head down, keep our head together, and try to figure it out. But that's so hard to freaking do when you get rewarded with that like 5 times a day. So just trying to keep my head in it, really. And you guys are all fucked up again. Water spotted. There we go. Hey, you can see me all nice and clear now. All these giant fish. Fishing, right? They're loaded right there. Well, my GoPro decided to die. Something really confusing just happened. Just kind of like a almost 8-pounder. I don't know. Looks like a good spot, I suppose. It's the best spot we got, I know that. On the dang Flick Shake Clout. Cool. Let's get her back in. Man. Bam. Got the new Clout bolt pack. Decided this would be a little bit better than bringing 27 packs of them. Fishing on a little Flick Shake head, and can't see apparently because I didn't put it in the middle. Fish on a little Flick Shake rig. A little bit grainy this morning. Here we go, day 3, final day of practice, and then we have an off day, and then we get this party. I don't know if it's gonna be a party, but we're getting it started. Actually, yesterday, didn't really talk a whole lot about it because I got dialed in and finally got a clue to something that was going on. And it's something that I knew should be going on, where basically, oh look, my boat's trying to float away. But basically, the fish are relating to bluegill beds and isolated grass patches next to them, which I knew that they could be and should be, but it doesn't ever seem like things go like they're supposed to. So I finally got a big bite on one, and I had 2 other bites. One of them I didn't get, was my Carolina rig was swimming at me. So that usually is not a tiny one when the thing has slack in it with a 3/4 ounce weight. Not that a 10-incher can't swim a 3/4 ounce weight, but usually that type of bite is a good one. And the other one was a small fish. So we are gonna start on Dora and Beauclair in my boat. It's far enough away that it's gonna be an uncomfortable jump to get into it. I better grab it before I'm screwed in a second. gonna say that's not small. Got a boat behind us, of course. 4-pounder. Sweet. Time to go. Okay. Okay. Well, at least these guys are biting. Pissy little bastard. Don't hiss at me, bud. Should I keep him? Tell Ozzy we got a new pet. Buddy, let go. I know. I'm trying to help you. Alright, you're free. Oh, fuck. Giant, back to back, one gator, one bass, living hand in hand.